minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
All aboard! The RP show's leaving the station. Hope you're on board. I know you are. It's a brand new week. We're coming at you on the Game Plus Television Network. I'm still sick, so hang on. That's okay. Continuing to play injured, but that's okay. I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy to have Scruffy joining us in seconds. 13-year NHL veteran Rich Sutter will be with us in hour 2, a member of hockey's first family. We've got so much to get to on this Monday. It is April the 6th, 2026. And as we bring in Scruffy here, Scruffy knows where I'm going with this when I bring up the date. It's the 8-year anniversary of the worst day in Saskatchewan history. I'm already welling up, so I'm not going to say any more because I will cry, other than to say today, I mean, a lot of us remember every day the victims, the survivors, the people impacted by the worst day in Saskatchewan history, the Humboldt Broncos crash. So, Mitch, I know that you've made some posts on that, so I wanted to observe that for our friends in that community.
Yep. I sort of feel the same way as you. As you know, that event started at the end of the sports cage, and it got worse and worse as the night went on.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all I'm willing to say. We're aware of the sound issue, John Ohm and anybody else that wants to be Johnny Tech boy. We're good. Okay, let's get rolling.
Are we aware of the shirt issue, though?
What's wrong with it? Technicolor? Your color is working. Okay, your color is working.
I'll say it is.
Yeah, all right. Let's go to the NHL weekend, and we'll see how this goes. This is a quick opening segment. If I have to switch over to my iPhone or something, Corey, you tell me if we do. But coming out of the NHL weekend, Mitch, we can talk about the games and everything, which is cool. Sabres clinched, Tampa Bay clinched, Montreal clinched, but Patrick Roy was fired. And I'll be perfectly honest, when that came across my phone, I was like, what? I know that they've been mollywopped in their last couple of games. I kind of understand where the Islanders are coming from with this, but it was still a shock. It was still a shock to me. How about you?
That was a bigger surprise to me than the announcement last weekend about John Tortorella going to Vegas. I did not see that coming. You and I have talked about Peter DeBoer and his future on this show a few times since the Olympics ended, and maybe even before they started. The Islanders must have thrown a boatload of cash at Peter DeBoer, because you would think that his stock would be extremely high once the season ended. So for Matthew Darsh, is that his Darsh? Matthew Darsh?
Yep.
Is that the GM's name? For him to take this bold roll of the dice and hire Peter DeBoer for a team that may not get into the playoffs, and that Eastern Conference for the final two spots is crazy right now. This was a major surprise to me.
I think it was for everybody. I'm sure it was for Patrick Roy as well. And to be honest with you, you say Peter DeBoer. Oh, who knows? I don't think he thought he was ever going to coach again before he was hired with the Islanders. I don't know about that. You know that he'd had wild success in the Q, right, with the Rempart. So I don't know what's going to happen with Patrick Roy. But listen, do you not think that the Islanders, and you mentioned Matthew Darch, the GM, they're looking at the Vegas model? Like, let's be honest. Vegas goes in and mollywops your team Saturday night, the Oilers, 5-1. They're a completely different team under John Tortorella, which was the plan from Kelly McCrimmon. I would think the Islanders are looking at the exact same thing, number one. And number two, why does everybody act like Peter DeBoer is the second coming of Scotty Bowman? I'm sure he's a great guy. And within the coaching community, he's this guru. But I don't know from what, Mitch.
Take a look at his track record, Rod. He's, I believe, won a Stanley Cup. He's gotten to, 3 Western Conference Finals. Head coach of Team Canada, and you can debate that all you want. I think that Peter DeBoer, if you put him beside Bruce Cassidy, and the stories we're hearing about Bruce Cassidy are crazy. But I think Peter DeBoer was going into the offseason the number one guy. And now he's not. And I think there'll be more interest in other head coaches than there will be in Bruce Cassidy, if the truth be known. Because I think the hockey community, hearing the stories that have come out of Vegas, they are stories that we obviously didn't know about, but obviously people there did. I'm sure Kelly did, which is one of the reasons maybe why they made the move. But Peter DeBoer is the guy right now because of the track record, and he can take a team to the next level. And if the Islanders think that he can take the team to the next level, whether it be this year or next, because this year they may have run out of runway, we'll see. But you got to think that the Islanders are going to be a team with Schaefer that's going to continue to improve, and it might not be a small-term investment for this year, but a long-term investment moving forward.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been sick all weekend. I haven't really been surfing my phone. Please indulge me to the degree that you can. What is this about Bruce Cassidy? Like, I was watching some old interviews of ours, and they said, of our analysts, and they said, Vegas doesn't make many mistakes. They're a team that doesn't make many mistakes. So hiring Bruce Cassidy clearly wasn't because they won a Stanley Cup with him. Maybe letting him go wasn't a mistake either. But what are you talking about? I haven't heard anything.
It sounds like Bruce Cassidy was a guy that the players had basically, for the most part, quit on because they could not take his style, his tactics, his demeanor. And this was apparently going on for the last couple of years. So what all was going on? That stuff's not coming out. That laundry hasn't been aired. But it sounds like Bruce Cassidy was not a good guy behind the bench. Now, They replaced him with a guy that, as we know, is a good guy off the bench, but on the bench is a little bit different in Tortorella. So there's a lot of confusion with what went on there too.
Fair, but again, they're 3-0 under Tortorella. I don't know. Let's not.
Just remember too, they've also beat Vancouver and Calgary. As people said the other night against Edmonton, this was their first legitimate win. And they deserved that win against Edmonton. I didn't see all of the game. And by the time I started watching it, it was basically over. But that was their first legitimate win. If you want to call a win over a struggling Oilers team, legitimate. But they'd won, 5 in a row going in?
Yeah. Mitch, if you can, how's the sound on this? Should I switch over to my iPhone, or are you okay hearing me?
I can hear you, but as far as the listeners go and the viewers go, you might want to make a change.
Okay. We'll be right back after this.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca. Or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sastix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, welcome back, everybody. RP Show continues. I have switched things up a little bit. Scruffy's here with me. I'll try to remember to look into the right camera here. And well, hey, the poll question is brought to you by Country Thunder. I'll tell you a little bit about Country Thunder here in a second. Mitchell, there you go with the Country Thunder poll. It's Rockin' Craven, July 9th to the 12th. But Mitch, before we switch to March Madness and some other things, the poll question is, should the NHL go to a play-in format for the playoffs, similar to the NBA?
No.
Okay, well, here's why, though.
No.
Can I just say why I bring it up? And I'm with you. I'm voting no, but I would have originally said yes because I like to have more teams involved as late in the regular season as we can. But here in Florida, somebody who worked for the Panthers, I'm not going to name him, but he tweeted that I guess the Panthers have more points than the Golden Knights or more regulation wins or something, yet the Panthers are going to miss and the Knights are in. He goes, time for a change. And I'm like, can you guys not see how you look? You didn't care before, but now that it affects you adversely, you want to change the rules. It's like Tom Brady losing in the flag football game. He wants to change the rules because they didn't win. It doesn't work that way. But I don't think people see how they look when they say these things.
I completely agree. And you know what? A play-in format to me, Roddy, it's like a participation ribbon. Oh, you know what? You're not quite good enough, but here, we'll give you another carrot just to try to get in. Like, no. I'm completely against that. And like, the NBA has their tournament in the middle of the season. People have asked if the NHL should do that. No. Let's just keep things the way they are in the NHL. Because the NHL isn't suffering any.
No, well, and here's who's suffering. Not that anybody cares, but the Florida Panthers. I when I say I'm staying off social media as much as I can, I mean we live in it. But people are going now. They're tweeting Kachuk because there was a post that went out on the weekend. The Panthers have been officially eliminated from the playoffs, and people are like, "Oh, Matthew Kachuk, you're not even in the bridal party, let alone being the bridesmaid."
Well, what goes around comes around, right?
If you're gonna mouth off, like you say, live by the sword, die by the sword. I'm not sure it bothers him, but anyways, that's what's going around. Carlos in Indiana writes in and he says, "How inclusive do the playoffs need to be? There shouldn't be that many teams in a playoff." I'm just saying, Mitch, MLB's expanded theirs, NFL expanded theirs, NBA expanded theirs. But the NHL has not in 45, 50 years. So I'm just putting it out there. That's all.
I'm fine with it. And now the NCAA is apparently going to increase the amount of teams that make March Madness. And that's just ridiculous to me. Like, let's let everybody in.
Well, and they're going to increase the college football playoff too. You wait. It went from 4 to 12 and probably 16, which, by the way, is a wonderful segue.
Still bitch because they're not in.
If you don't like what we're talking about on the RP show, wait a couple minutes. We'll be talking about something else. But I should just tell you that the poll question is brought to you by Country Thunder. Get ready for one of the biggest parties of the year. Country Thunder returns to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Lainey Wilson, Riley Green, and Creed. Plus an incredible lineup, including the Dead South, Gavin Adcock, Cameron Whitcomb, and more. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com/SK. Point 2 of the quick 6. The Michigan Wolverines and Yukon Huskies meet tonight in the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship Final. Huskies will be chasing their 7th national title since 1999. The Wolverines are 0-4 in national finals since winning it all in 1989. Mitch, you'll be watching. Well, your Michigan love for football, does it extend to basketball?
Absolutely. Michigan football, Michigan hockey, Michigan basketball. I'm there, baby.
Well, was it you or somebody, I think it probably was you, pointed out that Michigan is in the final, the Frozen Four this weekend, plus the March Madness men's final? Like, what a banner year for Michigan athletic department.
Yeah, they did. The women's basketball team, I think, got to the final 8, the Elite 8. The men's basketball team looking for a championship. The hockey team's in the Frozen Four this weekend coming up. They've been doing well, but they've got the coins, so they should be doing well.
Whoa.
By the way, I
need
just want to say this tonight.
Sure.
I really hope tonight that they don't do what they did Saturday night, the tournament, and give us some pre-game concert. Like, what was that? The game was supposed to start 20 minutes after the Yukon game. I'm all ready to go for it. And the chain smokers come out? Like, is this like the NHL is going to have a concert at the intermission of a Stanley Cup game? Whose bright idea was that?
It's funny you say that, Mitch, because funny/not funny. When people were writing in here saying, how was your weekend? Blah, blah, blah. Like I said, I was sick for a lot of it. I want to thank Brent and Bree, and I spent Easter Sunday with family on the water. It was great. But on Saturday, with the semifinals for the March Madness men, everybody was bitching like you are about the concerts, like big time. And I'm like, is it really impacting your life on a Saturday that you got to wait an hour? Really? Like, it's just one big bitch fest. That's why that's my point. I can't.
Well, it's not that, Rod. It's when they tell you that a game's going to start at this time. It's like the NHL saying that a game's going to start at this time. Oh, we've got some pregame ceremonies first. And by the time the game drops, or the time the puck drops, it's 20 minutes later. Like, we are invested in being in front of the TV when it says the time the game's going to start. So start it. Like when the CFL plays their games, it's game starts at 7, kickoff at 7:05. Bang. And we don't see that with the other sports, and they've got to start doing that.
I'm with you on that. But as Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in, and he says, heaven forbid they increase the entertainment value, which, by the way, I have the UFL down on my Quick Six show topics. Did you watch any of Friday's game? Because I did, and they had a halftime concert. I didn't know the guy's name, but the stadium was full in Columbus for the UFL game. I'm like, this is awesome. So you're not anti-entertainment. You're anti-surprising you with it.
Well, halftime of a football game, that's like the Super Bowl, the Grey Cup, they have their concert. And it's in the middle of the game, when there is a break. But when, as I said, you've got two teams that are ready to hit the floor, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we're going to postpone the beginning of this for another half an hour. These guys want to get out there and play. North America wants to see this game start, and all of a sudden it's like, with no warning, oh, here's the chain smokers. And here's a really lame segment with Dr. James Naismith for you to absorb before the game starts.
Okay.
Like, as I said, are we gonna get like a concert during the Stanley Cup playoffs in the first intermission? So the first intermission is gonna be like 40 minutes long? Dumb.
Go outside and shake your fist at the clouds. Rob from Windthorst writes in, he says, expansion of playoffs is all about money. Maybe the teams that don't make the playoffs could play for the Consolation Cup. And Rob from Windthorst also says, come on, Mitchell, where else would you be other than sitting there watching the concert on Saturday saying, chill out? Robin writes in, he says, but if you are on the couch watching the game, do you really have anywhere to go? He's saying you're a captive audience because you're sitting there. So I kind of understand all of this. And where the hell is it? John Ohm writes in, he says, it's a sports smorgasbord out there. And here's the thing. I'm seeing all the bitching on everything that you're saying. I watched like 9 hours of NHL hockey on Saturday and was happier than a pig in slop. And I wasn't really watching, I wasn't watching at all the March Madness semifinals. And I had a friend who's an oil man. I'm not going to say his name, but he says, you guys sound like real jerks on there when you say you're not following golf or you're not following basketball. He's not talking about you because you follow it all. But I'm just like, I can't be into everything. Somehow or another, Mitch, you
own interests. Everybody has their own interests. And if this show or any other show doesn't have that interest that you have, well, then you're not going to watch. But you're right. You can't have everything. I'm sure there are people out there, Rod, that don't like hockey. And I'm guessing they're not watching. I'm guessing there are people out there that love NASCAR. And you don't talk NASCAR. So they're not going to watch. Or the World Cup of Soccer. But you're going to talk hockey. You're going to talk football. You'll talk baseball. And the last time I looked, those sports are pretty popular. So if those people want to listen, they will. It's
But
at the end of that's the end of the story. Move on.
it is, but what I'm realizing here, and you probably are too, because there's a lot of people watch this show where you're living right now. There's a lot of people knowing you and me for a long time. There's a lot of people just finding us, right? So they're kind of figuring out what we're into. And like 8 years ago, when we started this show, you weren't around then on this show, but I said it's the Rod Pedersen Show. It's not Sports Center. Okay. So I will not be doing NASCAR highlights. I will not be talking about PGA events, but it's what I'm into. It's the Rod Pedersen Show. Thank you. By the way, the Rod Pedersen Show is proud to welcome Neil Chark of Uniglobe Carefree Travel as the official travel partner of the RP Show. Calling all Canadian sports fans, join Uniglobe Carefree's own Neil Chark for an action-packed weekend in Toronto, August 14th to the 17th. 2 big-time baseball games, Toronto, New York, Friday, Saturday, and a Canadian football game, Sask at Hamilton on the Sunday. It's an easy, fun, stress-free way to experience the best of Canadian sports all in one unforgettable weekend. Connect with Neil at uniglobecarefreetravel.com. The numbers are on the screen. Now, I could sit in here and talk about this other stuff all day. I'm enjoying it with you, but it is the quick 6 show topics. Davis Martin tossed 6 innings of 4-hit ball to lead the Chicago White Sox past the Blue Jays 3-0 Sunday for their first 3-game sweep of the Blue Jays in 10 years. So we've got fans of all MLB teams watching this. So I'm not going to sit and talk about the Blue Jays forever. God knows there's enough networks in your country that do that, Mitch. But that must have taken a little steam out of the old choo-choo Jays train, I would think.
They've lost 5 of 6 to the worst teams in the American and National League last year. Talk about a World Series repeat. It's cooled off a little as the Dodgers come into town. And we all remember what happened the last time the Los Angeles Dodgers came to Rogers Center. I hope Miguel Rojas gets a standing ovation tonight.
Your hate for the Blue Jays is admirable.
Well,
Not by me,
but they sent Brendan Little down. Like, why'd you give up on him so quick?
Speaking of that, are you following in any regard the story of Robbie Alomar, my favorite Blue Jay ever, coming out in the Toronto Sun? Yep. Do you believe him? I do.
I think there's a lot of gray matter there that we don't have access to, but Major League Baseball did not ever come out, to my knowledge, with the results of their investigation. So a lot of this, as Steve Simmons says, is gray matter. Now, when you look at Robbie Alomar and what he's alleged to have done, MLB, the Blue Jays, whatever, they've done what they had to. But you're right, Rod. And it's just like Edmonton with the Eskimos and the Elks. You can't change history. And Robbie Alomar is one of the top players to ever play for the Toronto Blue Jays. And I will argue that his home run against the Oakland Athletics and Dennis Eckersley was bigger than Joe Carter's because that got them to the World Series. Against an Oakland A's team that everybody thought was going to win that year. It's a bad situation, though. Very bad.
For those that don't know, Roberto Alomar was canceled, and Steve Simmons has eloquently allowed Robbie Alomar to tell his story. And I know Steve Simmons really well, and I've known him for a long time. Steve Simmons is not going to put his neck on the line for somebody that he doesn't believe in. So that's all. I just wondered if you were following it, and I knew that you would be.
Yep.
We will be right back. We'll be right back. More with Scruffy and you and me when we return here on the Game Plus Television Network.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edge-of-your-seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs guy through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is really weird. The show is covering everything that I would like to do sufficiently with Mitch. It's weird. It doesn't usually happen that way. So far, we've talked, I think, at length and quite well about the National Hockey League, March Madness Championship tonight, UConn, Michigan, MLB. Some viewer comments here as we welcome Scruffy back in. Jason in Red Deer says, Neil Chark at Uniglobe is the new Dash Tours. One call and you're there, Mitch. Monty writes in, says, love you, Rod. I love you too, Monty. And listen, I'll get to more of the... Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to, instead of spreading hate like you and the chain smokers, because you're such a hater, there's room for people getting along. Point 3B. Why the hell not, Mitch? If you tuned into Sunday's UFL game, you saw a thriller as the Houston Gamblers won on a walk-off field goal as John Hayland made a 50-yard field goal attempt as time expired to defeat the Birmingham Stallions. We have a UFL matchup to look forward to on Tuesday. The Dallas Renegades host the Corey Chamberlain's St. Louis Battlehawks in a matchup of XFL 2.0 Originals in Frisco, Texas. So I mentioned that because we're doing UFL picks here every Friday with Kevin the Medium. I have not tabulated yet this weekend so far, week 2 in the UFL, but I don't know about you, but the UFL is up in my business all the time. They're in my face. It's on TV, sending me emails. Are they with you or not?
Nope. They are not.
Why are they in mine?
Down my radar right now, Rod. Like baseball, hockey, NCAA basketball, the Masters. The UFL is so far down the list. And as I put out on Twitter yesterday, we're 23 weeks away from me enjoying my Sundays watching Red Zone, looking at my fantasy teams, yelling at the Seahawks. I realize the CFL season starts before the next 23 weeks, but I could care less about the UFL. I really could. It has no interest to me. It never has. If there's nothing else on, I'll maybe take a gander of it, but it just doesn't do anything for me.
You're not alone, but I mean, we have viewers that are into it. I'll save that to when you're gone. Oh my God. And you haven't even mentioned curling yet. And there are people writing in here with curling. So again, let's get this back on track. And I'll mention the NBA after Mitch is gone, but I'm pretty sure that's not on your radar either. I mean, this is what I hate every year. I've realized it now doing this show. When the NFL season ends, Mitch, everybody runs off in their own direction as far as sports fans with their interests.
Pretty much.
The curling people, the baseball people, the hockey people, it's all fragmented. The NFL brings us all together. And that's a wonderful testament to the National Football League. Yeah, go ahead.
Is the draft not in 2 weeks? So like those that are interested in the Masters, those that are interested in the first month of the baseball season, Stanley Cup playoffs will just be getting underway. But who's kidding who, Rod? In 2 weeks' time, or 3 weeks, because the draft, I think, is at the end of April.
April 24th, 25th, 26th.
Will be on Pittsburgh for 4 days as to what's going on.
Right. So, like I say, the NFL unites us. But in the time that we have left with you, which is considerable time, you said that where you live, everybody's all fired up about getting ready for the Stanley Cup playoffs, and I get it. So let's spend just some time on this. There's 4 games in the NHL tonight. Tampa Bay at Buffalo. The last time they met there, you know what happened. It was a brawl for it all. Everybody's game of the year. They said it's the best game in the history of KeyBank Center in Buffalo ever. And I don't expect that's going to happen tonight, but we all got to tune in. Seattle at Winnipeg. Chicago Blackhawks at San Jose, Bedard Celebrini, which would be always a great poll question. Who's better? But we'll have that debate for 20 years. And then Nashville at LA. But as the resident Oiler guy that you are you not concerned about the Oilers? Just the Oilers? Panthers go in there and manhandle them. I would have thought somebody would have rubbed Kachuk's face in the glass. Nobody even breathed on him. Vegas just mollywalked him the other night. Are you not? You should be concerned if you're not.
Well, this is a team that has not played well all year. And they're going to make the playoffs. And once the playoffs start, everybody goes back to 0, and it's the first to 16 wins. Do I think the Oilers can win the first round? Yeah. Do I think they can win the second round? It's tough. But do I think that they're going to beat a Colorado, a Dallas, or a Minnesota? Nope, I do not.
Yeah.
So, I got a question for you, because I've heard this question debated all over the place. You've got 3 finalists for the Hart Trophy. You've got McDavid, McKinnon, Celebrini, and Kucherov. What one of those 4 doesn't make your list?
Oh my God. It's Celebrini because I'm sorry, but he's just too young. You didn't even mention Matthew Schaefer, who set a record for points by a teenage defenseman. Yeah, but I'm hearing his name for the Hart. And of course they just
I haven't.
I have.
Norris, and I've heard it for the Rookie of the Year, but I haven't heard it for the MOP.
He has had a hell of a year. But how about this?
Yes, he has.
It's funny because with the Panthers hitting the playoff ditch, The Lightning fans are blowing up my phone, and they're asking the exact same question. And they're like, Kucherov, he's never won the Hart, right? And they're wondering why. And I think I can look it up here right now. I don't think he has. I think it's an anti-Russian bias. I'll look it up right now, but I think the voters are, I'm sorry to say, discriminating against him because he's not from Canada or the USA. Not joking.
I've never really thought about that, but I wouldn't throw that theory away.
And part of the reason why I don't even want a vote. Oh, he did win it in 2019. That throws that out the window. Here's your winners.
Before everything changed.
What do you mean, COVID?
Like I heard somebody say that they won't vote for Kucherov because he had a 3-week break because of the Olympics. Really? Is that your reasoning why?
Oh, there's your mistake. Living on Twitter. I mean, do you not get sick of it? I had to turn it off. I had to turn it off for fake news, lies, bitterness, fighting, bitching. I just can't.
Roddy, for the most part, I find that if you stay away from the comments, you're good. And if you believe in legitimate sources, and there are so many of them out there on Facebook and Twitter that are not, then you're going to go down those rabbit holes. But for the most part, when I scan through Facebook, when I scan through Twitter, although I do have fun trolling some, they say they're Chicago Cubs fans about the way that team's playing. I just find, you know what? If you just look at the facts and where it's coming from, you're good. Because you can keep informed. But if you get into the comments, and you know this, watching the Riders and what it's like with their fans after a game, which it is with basically any other fan base.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to be in trouble. And it's how much can you absorb? And like I say, I look at the stuff, try to stay away from the comments.
You boiled it down real well right there by saying consider the source. But sometimes when it's yours and my friends in the media that are saying stupid, goofy things, that gets to be a lot. And then the other was, I saw yesterday, it's like Donald Trump hospitalized, which ended up being fake news. But news sources had to go chase that down and find out that it's not true. And I'm on the boat with Bree. I said, oh, did you see this? It's a hoax. She was like, well, would you be surprised? He's old and probably the most stressed man on the planet right now. But it was not true.
Oh, I think that had that been legitimate, I think we'd have had, your American networks, everybody would have been all over that. And there probably would have been like, we break into programming to bring you this. But it wasn't. They did their due homework like a journalist is supposed to do.
Right. But you shouldn't have to chase. But you shouldn't have to chase this crap down. And that's what ticks me off.
Well, when it comes to that situation, you might have to, because I would think they'd be trying to keep it under wraps. But I know what you're saying.
Okay. Wonderful hit, Mitch. You fired them all up today. You're very good at that. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
We'll be right back on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, we're back. We got Scruffy out of here and his poopy pants attitude. The Hockey Report is brought to you by the Mad Greek Eatery, and they love their hockey. Johnny Yatridis, the original Mad Greek, whether it's pizza, ribs, or authentic Greek favorites, make it the Mad Greek tonight. Open until 11 p.m. And we're also brought to you by Tony Plater. Now, there's Mr. Sunshine. Tony Plater, one of the biggest Habs fans that I know. He runs Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. From strategic communications to leadership training and conversational content, we help your message connect and inspire. Where do we want to go? We got so many tremendous comments here from the viewers. And this is where I get to play the Larry King of Sports Talk. Hello, Glenn in Medicine Hat. Hello. Regina Pat Canadians qualify for the TELUS Cup, defending champions. Nobody's won more Air Canada Cups or TELUS Cups than the Regina Pat Canadians. God's team. I should tell you the text line is 902-518-3033. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. Are you ready for a new ride? Western Dodge has what you're looking for. Visit their showroom or online at westerndodge.ca. I got to slow this down for a second. I really do. Where do we start? You guys are all writing in about, or not all of you, but a lot of you are writing in about Scott Oake announcing his retirement on Saturday. Oh, mon Dieu. That's my God in French for you people that don't know. Can tell stories about both. Been around both a ton in my career. One interesting thing about Scott Oake, like he's the man. And I have not seen any of the tributes. They haven't basically even started rolling in yet for Scott Oake. For those that don't know, Hockey Night in Canada icon. Been on there since the 80s. I'm going from memory because I haven't seen anything. I haven't read anything. I just saw that he announced his retirement. And what I will tell you about Scott Oake is I do a recovery podcast, Pedersen Recovery Podcast. And I know that his son, Bruce, died of a heroin overdose. And Scott was never afraid to talk about that. So I asked him, I'm like, Scott, would you come on my podcast and talk about Bruce? and your connection to recovery. Like, I mean, so many people that have a connection to addiction recovery and mental health awareness, they don't hesitate. And that was Scott for me. I think it was my most listened to interview. There's been some good ones on there, like Chris Carter, the Vikings great, and a ton. Chico Resch. And by the way, why you're seeing this different, why I'm speaking into my iPhone headphones, is because I was on a recovery podcast last night out of Georgia, the Talkin' Trash recovery podcast. And I same thing. You asked me to come on and talk about that, I'm in. And two of the guys on that show were actually from Saskatchewan as well. And they're like, oh, we like this side of Rod. We don't see this side of Rod. No, you don't. So anyways, that's my thing on Scott Oak. And then Vic Rauter, we talked about him on Friday because make the final. We knew on Friday that Vic was hanging it up. And I'm like, did you see the photo or even the video of Vic Rauter announcing that he's done in the old TSN blazer? I'm like, how he looks so good. How are you pulling the pin, Vic? He goes, I'm tired. Bro, join the club. So yeah. BW in Edmonton writes and he says, Scott Oak's last show will be this coming Saturday in San Jose. You're not doing playoffs? Oh, that sucks. So yeah, like I said, I'm somewhat disconnected from this news. I mean, I'm following it, but there's just way too much. I cannot possibly be on top of everything. It's like my friend Guy said the other day. He's like, when you say you don't follow basketball, that sounds bad. What do you want me to say? I may or may not tune in tonight's March Madness final. I would like to. I would hope that it goes a hell of a lot quicker than the college football final championship game goes. It's a 4.5-hour game. But UConn, Michigan tonight, I understand. I know that it's a big deal. To watch the whole game? Probably not. Anyways, sports update brought to you by the Ultimate Fan Zone in Moose Jaw. The Toronto Blue Jays open a 3-game set tonight against the Dodgers in a World Series rematch at Rogers Center. Toronto has dropped 4 straight and will send Max Scherzer to the mound against Dodgers lefty Justin Robleski. Oh, and by the way, the reason I bring this up is I'm on this mic because I had to change my microphone to do the recovery podcast last night out of Georgia, and it screwed up the mic system. But y'all say that you can hear it just fine, and that's the main thing. As we said earlier, a 4-game slate in the NHL tonight includes Winnipeg hosting the Seattle Kraken. The Jets have won 3 of their last 4 and sit 3 points back of the final Western Conference wildcard spot. Wouldn't that be something if the Jets made the playoffs? As my mom would say, wouldn't that be a trick? The Kraken have dropped 4 in a row and trail Winnipeg by 3 points. 5 games in the NBA tonight, and he didn't even dare bring this up with Scruffy. 5 games in the NBA tonight, including Denver going for a 9th straight win against the visiting Portland Trailblazers. Portland has won 3 in a row. The Raptors of Toronto, coming off a 115-101 loss in Boston Sunday, return home to face the Miami Heat Tuesday. And then here's another one. Professional curling gets a new look today with the debut of the Rock League in Toronto. 6 franchises featuring top international names like Brad Jacobs, Rachel Homan, Nicholas Edin, and Carrie Anderson. Open play in a new team format that combines men's and women's fours with mixed doubles. 3 matches are scheduled on opening day today as all teams begin a round robin toward the league's first championship. Let me just tell you that the sports update is for the Ultimate Fan Zone. Are you looking for the hottest fan gear? We got it all here. A lot of it we got at Ultimate Fan Zone. Swing by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca where real fans get their gear. Okay, back to the streets, back to the viewers here. 902-518-3033. Just from the audience, what are we? Are we having a contest here to point out everything that's going on? Brent in the Bridge City writes in, says, Blades Oil Kings Game 7 tonight. Go, Blades, go. There's a few people have been talking about that. And with me mentioning the Rock League debuting, brand new pro curling league which is on my radar just because I've got a lot of friends that are in it. I'm kind of getting a kick out of this. These people here in Florida that are trying to start Roller Hockey International 2.0. As we talked about, I feel like the initial meeting that I was in with those investors wasn't their initial meeting, but it was my initial meeting. I'm like, it's a very crowded space. This sports landscape right now, very crowded. A lot more crowded than it was in 1993 when you guys fired up the first time. They're like, we know. But they believe in the product and they feel that they can. I'm not going to give away their secrets, but as I said to you last week on the air, I'm like, I could talk about roller hockey for days. I love it. And that was just as a fan back in the day. And now I'm lucky enough to be involved. We are aware people are just showing up here for the first time today. We've been on the air for almost an hour. Oh, Scott Oak announced his return. Also, the Beatles broke up. So, were you aware of that? Please don't come in here with breaking news and expect that we haven't talked about it already. Rewind if that's more your jam. 902-518-3033. I was mentioning to Mitch that I don't know. I don't really feel like I'm missing anything by taking social media breaks, especially from the news, but also sports. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes, and he says, I don't get into social media that closely. Certainly not the comment section. Of course, I'm old, says Wayne, because Scruffy comes on here earlier and goes, oh, these stories that are coming out now about Bruce Cassidy in Vegas. I'm like, I don't even know what those stories are, and I don't really care. I don't. He's gone. He's fired. Whatever the reason is, does it really matter? He won a Stanley Cup there. He's a great guy. Of that I know. The players didn't like him. Boo-hoo. Join the club. Players, I'm talking about. I will tell you this, though. When I was on that podcast out of Atlanta last night, or I think they were in Atlanta, they were Georgia somewhere. They were like, Rod, what truly is your favorite NHL team? And I'm like, well, if I really had to boil it down, I'm going to say Vegas. For a variety of reasons that a lot of you know, but most of you don't. But I would say chief among them is that's the team that I have the most friends with on their staff. But I told this story because everybody knows Tom Cochran. I was interviewing Tom Cochran, Life is a Highway Tom Cochran, at the Grey Eagle Resort in Calgary, just in person on the stage. And I said, Tom, what's your favorite NHL team? And he literally goes, where are we? Calgary? I guess the Flames. I get it. So I said to the guys last night of the podcast, I'm like, I live in South Florida. I live 27 miles away from a Merritt Bank Arena, and the Panthers are unbelievable to me. I showed them this card that I still have on the desk. Thanks for all you do. There's a legit card that I got at Christmas from the Florida Panthers. I love those guys, but historically right now, it's probably Vegas. I don't know. That's why I'm pulling for them, and maybe that's why I'm a little defensive when Mitch brings up, oh, the story is coming out about Bruce Cassidy. To me, that doesn't really matter. But why Scruffy and I work so well together is he's into things that I'm not, and vice versa. But the other thing is, it's April 6th. It's the 8-year anniversary of the Humboldt Broncos crash, the worst day in Saskatchewan history. 16 men and a young lady lost their life in that crash. Mitch and I were working together that night. And I haven't talked about it a lot on this show today because I will cry. That's not a shock to anybody. So we're observing the anniversary of it. And yeah. Rich Sutter joins us in hour 2 coming up right after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
It's a big how about that. Welcome to the RP Show, everybody, on a Monday, brand new week. We're welcoming in the Nevada viewers on Silver State Sports. We got some stuff they're going to like here, I think. And we say hello again to our Canadian viewers and those peering in from 33 other states besides Nevada on Game Plus. Hi, it's RP here. And yeah, there's been people been with us for an hour. There are people just joining us. You'll see something a little different here right now. It's because I guested last night, Sunday night, Easter Sunday night, on a recovery podcast, addiction recovery podcast out of Georgia, and somehow I had to change up my microphone, and it screwed up all of my system of how we broadcast here. But BW from Edmonton writes in, he goes, I like this camera angle. Don't get too attached, which, by the way, speaks to a few things. Rich Sutter is going to be with us coming up in segment 2. I want to say hour 2, but it's hour 1 right now for our Vegas viewers on Silver State Sports. Rich Sutter. Before we go any further, hold the phone, or as it were, hold the bell. Laura is writing in from Edmonton right now. Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. She is the one who lovingly sent me this bell last summer. Okay, and she couriered it to me as I spend my summers in Canada. She says, hi, Rod. Good morning from Edmonton. Just wondering, is the bell broken? It didn't make any sound when you rang it twice. If it's broken, I have another pretty nice one I can send you. Wildest thing, Laura from Edmonton. It doesn't pick up in my iPhone headphones. It doesn't hear it. And I have some more stories I could tell later about how these things happen. But let me just say, the bell's working just fine. I can hear it, along with the other voices in my head. But no, you don't need to send a bell. And if we get back to getting this thing working by tomorrow, we won't have to worry about that. But thank you for your concern. Okay, quick 6 show topics. We're going to open with the NHL. I feel like for those in Nevada, they join late. They miss so much. But I want to just read this comment here from Jason and Red Deer. When I say the Nevada viewers are going to like this answer, and certainly the Golden Knights people who are watching the show. When I was on that podcast last night out of Georgia, they said, Rod, what is your favorite, deep down, what's your favorite NHL team? And I get asked that a lot. I don't know why people care. But I'm like, if you're really putting a gun to my head, it's probably Vegas. Spent time there, a lot of friends with the organization. Probably that. So Jason, that same Jason writes in, he goes, quoting Rod, I guess my favorite team is Vegas. Panthers brass. Strokes Rod from their Christmas card list. It's not that. It's best if I'm not fanboy. It's best for everybody. And I'll tell you why. Yesterday, we were on a boat off the coast of West Palm Beach, Florida. Shout out Brent and Bree. And we went past Jerry Jones' boat. And I want to say it's called the Premium Eugene. It's something Eugene, but I think it's Premium Eugene. We looked it up. 385 feet long. A very big boat. And anyways, there's people on this boat. They told me it's Jerry Jones' boat. And I'm like yelling at them, get off your ass. You guys work for Jerry Jones? We missed the playoffs last year. What are you doing floating around on a boat right now? It's not good for me to be fanboy. I said to Brent, the Dallas Cowboys are like one of my last teams left that I'm fanboy of. And it's not good. It's better for me to analyze and do that. And here with the Florida Panthers missing the playoffs, I get the trolling and the fun and everybody's poking stuff at them. That's just the way that it goes. They've been to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals, won the last 2, and now they're missing the playoffs. People are poking dirt at Matthew Tkachuk. They're saying, you're not even in the bridal party, let alone bridesmaid. All this, I get it. But now I got Tampa Bay Lightning fans that are writing me because they want the coverage, because the Lightning are in. They clinched for a 9th straight time, which am I off-roading here like crazy? But that's okay. You should be used to it by now. Vegas is likely going to be in, which I guess if I go back and look at the quick 6 show topics again, I said number 1 is NHL coming out of the weekend. And we can get into March Madness and baseball and NBA, but everybody else is talking about that. Nobody in America is talking about the NHL. I know it's very hard for our Canadian viewers to understand that, but that is a fact. Nobody's talking about hockey down here, but us. So the Golden Knights go into Edmonton and speedboat, motorboat the Oilers 5-1. Kelly McCrimmon, a genius again. The Islanders firing their head coach, Patrick Roy, Sunday. Shocked us all, but you know what? The Islanders have gotten motorboated themselves the last 2 games. So the Islanders are looking at the Vegas model going, worked for them. So they made that change. And then this morning, I'm listening to NHL radio, and they're playing a clip from the game-winning goal, Philadelphia beating Boston Sunday, the radio call of the Philadelphia Flyers broadcast. And they're like, Porter Martin scores their first NHL goal, which is a big deal, yes. But the announcer's like, and the Flyers have secured a playoff spot. I'm immediately like, what? For today. John Cooper said it best on Saturday. When the Lightning clinched, he goes, you don't feel safe or secure until that X is beside your name. Get out of this. Get out of here with this. They secured a playoff spot for today. That don't mean anything. But it sure is fun. And that brings us to our poll question today, which is brought to you by Country Thunder. Get ready for one of the biggest parties of the summer. Country Thunder returns to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th. You Americans might want to check this out. Featuring Lainey Wilson, Riley Green, and Creed. Plus an incredible lineup, including the Dead South, Gavin Adcock, Cameron Whitcomb, and more. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com/SK. Just $20 will secure your passes right now. The poll question is, should the NHL adopt a play-in format? I know we are a little late to the party with that poll question because Gary Bettman addressed this not more than a month ago at the NHL GM meetings here in Florida. He's like, we're not doing it. And a year ago, he said this last month of the regular season is our play-in. So they're not going to do it, but interestingly enough, 75% of the respondents are saying no, they shouldn't. And I'm just kind of being the devil's advocate here, in so much of MLB added not only a wild card, now multiple wild card spots. NFL did the same thing. NBA has the play-in format, and I would have voted yes for this specific question, because you remember in 2020 in the bubble in Edmonton and Toronto, but the Stanley Cup final ended up being played in Edmonton. There were 24 teams in the playoffs then. And I thought the NHL would stay with it because it invigorates interest in the markets of all 24 markets. They don't want to do that. And I kind of respect that, in that they want to keep the 16-team format an exclusive club. I respect that. So I'll vote no. You've all talked me out of that. By the way, Rich Sutter coming up in our second segment today, a member of hockey's first family, 13-year NHL veteran. I do have some notes written down here. I've mentioned Jerry Jones' boat. The other thing is, I do want to say, here come the Vegas Golden Knights. It's, listen to what I say. You might learn something. People are coming around to that, actually, finally, after all this time. Any league, teams want to build during the regular season and have it all come together come playoff time. And I could use a football analogy in a second, but I look at Vegas. They made the coaching change. They're 3-0. Does it mean they're going to win the Stanley Cup? Not necessarily, but they weren't going anywhere with Bruce Cassidy. That's clear. And then Carter Hart, the much criticized signing. He goes into Edmonton Saturday night and wins 5-1. Uh-oh. Here come the Golden Knights. And for all of our legion of Canadian Football League fans that are watching right now, here's an example. This will be like speaking Mandarin to the U.S. viewers, but maybe you'll get something out of it too. In 2013, we had a offensive coordinator with my team, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I was calling the games by the name of George Cortez. We had a Hall of Fame quarterback by the name of Darian Durant, and they didn't get along. They didn't get along at all. George was trying to make Darian a pocket passer, which if you knew him, he was like 5'10" and 240. He's not a drop back pocket kind of guy, but George was trying to make him that. And they fought all year, literally, because I was there at a front row seat. And then we get into the playoffs, everything comes together, and Darian rushes for 97 yards in the first playoff game and a victory at home, and we smashed it and rolled the rest of the way. So it was all setting up for the peak, for the crescendo, which was the playoffs. And George couldn't even tell his own quarterback that's what he was doing. So that's the point. That's why when people say, because I talk with the coaches all the time, they get annoyed. Not only do the fans want them to go 17-0 in the NFL, 18-0 in the CFL, 82-0 in the NHL, the owners want them to too. And that becomes very annoying to the coaches, because it's like, can you just get out of our office and let us do our thing? Some teams, that's why some teams win and some teams always lose. Man, I didn't think that the poll question would get as much going as it has today. BW in Edmonton writes in, he says, if the NHL goes to 36 teams, they will go to the play-in format. Well, let's cross that bridge when we get there. They're going to go to 34. Atlanta, for sure. I don't get this New Orleans thing. I don't get it at all. As a matter of fact, when Rich Sutter joins us next, we can kind of kick that around if he's down. I don't understand how New Orleans got on the radar of NHL expansion, but frankly, it makes as much sense as Atlanta. So I get it. BW says, those voices that have left your head are now the ads on your social media feeds. Oh, it's 1:11 Eastern. Thank you, Carlos. And for anybody else that observes, 1:11 Eastern for the live viewing audience, 11:11 Mountain. Yes, I always recognize the Mountain time zone. I was raised in it. It's the best time zone. Visualize the end game where you want to be as a person in your life, and then live there and let everybody else catch up. It actually works. Living proof right here. I should get to the other things because I could sit here and talk NHL all day and roller hockey. Bob writes in, he says, "Good morning, Rod. Bob from Medicine Hat. Hope you had a great Easter weekend. Have a great day." Yes, I did. Spend it with family, spend it on a boat off the coast of West Palm Beach, yelling at Jerry Jones' staff on his boat. It was big fun. And why are we saying good morning? Because we air on tape delay later on in prime time in Las Vegas, Nevada. Sean's watching in Vancouver. Have a great week, Rod. It's a fiery sports Monday. It's as fiery as we want it to be. But thank you for the reminder. Let me pick this up in terms of speed. Point 2, the Michigan Wolverines and Connecticut Huskies meet tonight in the March Madness Men's Basketball Championship Final. Point 3, Davis Martin tossed 6 innings of 4-hit ball to lead the Chicago White Sox past Toronto 3-0 Sunday for their first 3-game sweep of the Blue Jays since April of 2016. But that is so Sunday. The Blue Jays are home tonight to the LA Dodgers in a World Series preview, first game of a midweek set. Oh, and the Athletics, soon to be the Las Vegas Athletics, are dead last in the AL West. I looked that up, so we're not going to talk about them a lot either. You're welcome, Nevada. Point 3B. If you tuned into Sunday's UFL game, you saw a thriller as the Houston Gamblers won in a walk-off as John Hoyland made a 50-yard field goal as time expired to defeat the Birmingham Stallions. Our Hour 1 co-host, Scruffy, says the UFL isn't on his radar at all. I thought he was a football guy. But God bless the UFL. They are in my inbox. They are up my back with all their info, and we have a Tuesday night matchup to look forward to. The Dallas Renegades hosting the St. Louis Battlehawks. My good friend Corey Chamberlain, he was our head coach on that 2013 Rough Riders team I was talking about. He's now the DC in St. Louis. The game will be played in Frisco, Texas, kicking off 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday night. So yeah, we do UFL picks here for fun for our friends at Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. By the way, Rich Sutter joining us next, a member of hockey's first family. It's brought to you by Prairie Panels. They sponsor our guest segments. Prairie Panels is a Saskatchewan-based company specializing in high-quality construction panels and engineered building solutions, shop construction, or commercial projects. Prairie Panels brings innovative, durable products backed by local expertise. If you are looking for building materials you can trust, from steel panels to structural solutions, be sure to check them out, prairiepanels.ca. And while we're at it, I should tell you the warm-up is brought to you by our good friend Neil Chark of Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partner of the RP Show, and the BC Lions. They're inviting you to Toronto August 14th to the 17th for 2 big league baseball games, Toronto and New York, Friday, Saturday, and a Canadian football game, Saskatchewan and Hamilton on the Sunday, and then fly you home. 3 nights downtown Toronto hotels, an easy, fun, and stress-free way to experience the best in Canadian sports. And for the U.S. viewers, that's at a 40% discount. Connect with Neil at uniglobecarefreetravel.com. Rich Sutter is in next with us. You're not going to want to miss that as we talk all things NHL and maybe a little expansion if you're into that, and maybe some junior hockey as well. We'll be right back. You're watching across Nevada on Silver State Sports and across Canada and 33 states on Game Plus TV as well as WQVZ Radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. The RP Show continues on this Monday, and here's the deal. At some point, Rich Sutter is going to be joining us. Hi. It's how we roll on the RP Show. If you're new to the program, how do you like us so far? Richie, good friend of mine, 13-year NHL veteran, sitting there in Lethbridge, Alberta, was at a doctor's appointment that went long, and he has texted me and said he's racing home and will be on the air the second that he gets home. So I hope that the doctor's appointment went well and that he's able to join us here with enough time left in this segment that we can talk NHL hockey just fine. So while we do that, I mean, we have a lot of comments have come in from both Canadian and U.S. viewers. I was having this discussion yesterday, met some nice folks over Easter supper from Indiana and California. And they said, how do you find the difference between the U.S. and Canada? And I said, well, I used to think that that 49th parallel was just a virtual line and that we were the same people. No. It didn't take me long to figure out we couldn't be more different, especially in the media with the personalities. For instance, Kirk in Toronto writes in, and I'll read this now as we sit here and await our appearance from Rich Sutter. Kirk in Toronto says, hey, Rod, congratulations to the great Scott Oak on his announced retirement after 50 years covering sports in Canada. My biggest memory is when he covered the CFL on CBC. Another gem retires. So Scott Oak, he's the guy that I don't even know that. Hey, Richie, we got you. You're live. You're there. And by the way, you're looking great. So thanks for rushing home and joining us. Do you, Rich, have a Scott Oak story as we sit here, Hockey Night in Canada? You must, being an NHL figure like you are, and him as much as he is, Hockey Night in Canada.
I just think the thing about Scott is he's always so intuitive. He's so good to listen to. He's always sharp on all of his topics. And the best thing about it is he's just, on a Saturday night, it's fun to turn the TV on and know that there's going to be one game that you're going to get Scott. And that is always a fun one to watch. It's always great to listen to the post game when he brings in his guests, and I just love the way he's always handled himself. I mean, look, the family's been through some things, and
yeah,
and just the way he's been able to do it. And quite frankly, when the news came out over the last couple of days, it was actually quite disappointing to hear that. But knowing it was coming for a while, because I actually thought about it a couple of times this year, is that I'd heard rumblings about it in the last year or so. And I guess, he is a celebrity. He is a guy that is very popular. He is a guy that is very astute. He is a guy that knows his stuff, is done very, very well at it, Rod. And maybe he did it like this because he didn't want so much of a send-off where he was going. But look, we're going to miss this guy. Hockey Night in Canada is going to miss this guy. Our viewers are going to miss this guy. There's going to be a lot of hockey players around the NHL are going to miss this guy too, because he was just not Scott Oak, the guy that worked for Hockey Night in Canada Sportsnet. He was a real person with real personality, real class, and very popular.
Well, you know what? Thanks for that's very well said, especially off the top of your head. But he's a pro. And all these young people in the business are asking me, how do you explain your longevity? Like 50 years for Scott Oak. He's a freaking pro. And anything I've ever asked, he's like, I'm in. Just like you. You're exactly the same. And there's something to be said for that. He's just a pro at what he does, like yourself. Now, anything else before we switch to hockey?
How about Scott?
Yeah.
I know personally, it was just like I said, it was very disappointing, but knowing it was coming at some point. When I read it, I said, who's going to replace this guy? No one's going to replace this guy. They'll put someone else in his spot, but no one's going to do what he did. He set the bar, and no one's going to beat it.
Ooh, I got to write that down. He set the bar. That's it. Okay. When you found out on Sunday that Patrick Roy was being fired as coach of the Islanders, what was your reaction?
Well, it came across my account, and I just went, holy shit. I knew they lost 4 in a row and 7 in their last 10. At this time of the year, I'm just thinking, okay, the Torts thing was one thing with 8 games left, but with 4 games left. I just read a comment literally a few minutes ago about Matthew Darche saying, like, look, he was the top free agent on the market. We were scared we weren't going to get him. Well, I think you would have had a week, right? After the season's over, I think you would have been able to at least reach out to his camp. Look, are you interested? If things don't shake out the way we're thinking they're going to shake out, even if they do, we do make the playoffs, there still could be a change. I think they were scared about that. I think Matthew was caught in the middle where, look, we don't get him now and we make the playoffs and we go around or whatever. We're 10 days into the playoffs. Some other team's already fired a guy and they've already hired him. I think that's the way they probably looked at it, that they were scared that they were going to lose him. I don't know if you're going to get the coach's bump with 4 games left in the year. I've watched the Islanders play. I've watched a ton of hockey in the last quite a few months, but obviously with all the races and how crazy every year we think that well, this is great. This is better than last year. Or this is better again in terms of, there's so many teams still there. And so I don't know. Look, if you need a coach's bump with 4 games left in the year, what's wrong with your 23-man roster?
Oh,
I mean, come
is
on.
that a rhetorical question? Well, look at Vegas. Look at Vegas. They're 3-0. And if as a Golden Knights fan, I would be sitting here going, "What the hell have you guys been doing all year?"
Well, that was well planned. I mean, you look at the schedule, look at the games, the teams they played leading up to Edmonton. There were some games in there like you could put your skates on backwards and should win those games if you're motivated. And so I think that the schedule dictated how that played out to a degree for sure. But it's worked, and I'm a big Torts fan. And honestly, I was watching a game about 2-3 weeks ago, and Kevin Weeks was doing it. He was between the benches. I texted him during the game. I said, Weeks, I said, oh my Lord, I said, we're watching a team. I said, they are so slow. They were playing slow. They looked slow. They looked old. They looked unenergetic. It was the Edmonton game. The Edmonton won in there. And everyone was talking about how great Edmonton's playing. Well, Vegas was terrible that night. Let's call a spade a spade. And then you look at that division, the Pacific Division, those teams aren't in the playoffs out east. And so I said to Kevin, I said, oh my God, I said, something's got to happen here. I said, what is going on with this team? And then listened to Mark Stone a couple of days ago after the game in Edmonton, and he said they spoke very highly of Bruce. But they were playing, they were in a rut. And sometimes just a different voice helps. Way it looks now, it looks like Kelly's made the right decision, right? But now you got another great coach on the market too. That can basically pick his team in any time in the next month. So lessons learned when you lose a job, right? When you get fired, none of the coaches in the NHL coaching group want to see a brother from the brother get fired. But what it does, it brings someone else another opportunity, correct? So you don't think that when that happened, that there's a whole lot of coaches looking over their shoulders saying, oh, like, ooh, Peter and Bruce are both out there. Well, now it's just Peter or just Bruce. So, it's going to make for a very interesting next 3-4 weeks still.
Well, you brought up your respect for John Tortorella. Every single guy I know, like yourself, that knows him, speaks the world of him. Most players do too. Some players don't, but that's with players, right? Why is John Tortorella so misunderstood, Rich?
Well, because he's not a media guy. Well, he doesn't want to sit in front of a big group of people and answer a bunch of questions that are so repetitive, and half of them are also the other half are make no sense. I mean, when you're trying to, there's a lot of questions that get asked coaches where they're basically answering the question with the question to the coach, and coaches don't like that. You get a lot of coaches in this league that would much rather sit down with you in a group of 2 or 3, or individually, and you'll see a 100% totally different person. That's a fact. And Torch is just not a guy that wants to sit around and waste time with nonsense and with noise. And that's no disrespect to the media, but there's a lot of really good guys in the media that really know their shit. There's also a lot of people out in the media that ask a lot of silly things. And basically, coaches don't have time for that, especially this time of the year when the heat's on. And I think Torch is very misunderstood as a personable person. Look, I worked beside him, alongside him. I think he's a wonderful human being, and the things he's got going on in his life. So, I think that, if I had a choice, if I had to say, if I was still playing, well, would you play for John Tortorella or wouldn't you? I'd walk to that building to work for that guy.
Well, as somebody said to me on this show. I can't remember who it was. They said Vegas doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And I think we're seeing that, right? With what you just said. It looks like it's turned out okay, but we still have a long ways to go. We still have the Stanley Cup playoffs to go, but at least they're going in the right direction. And it was very clear it wasn't happening with Bruce Cassidy.
Yes. And then the thing is, look at what Kelly and George have done there. Look at the coaches. These guys, Gerard Gallant. Right? Just look at the guys that kind of came in and out of that door in the last 10 years. These guys are the top coaches in the game. Let's be honest here. It's just maybe a different voice, a different sound. I don't know what it is, but at some point too, though, our players need to start harboring a little more responsibility too. You always hear the poor coach, poor sob thing after the the hammer gets dropped, and the motivational factor for a group, within when you're putting your roster together, your characterization of your group has to be a little bit more thoroughly thought out and planned, where you don't ever want to have to come down to this, that we got to move a coach because some guy's not happy, to motivate your group. And that, sadly, but that's the sport we're in right now.
Absolutely. I got to ask you your take on the Oilers and how far you see them going.
Well, with Leon out, I think it's taught them to learn to be a little bit more disciplined, focus a little bit more defensively. They're finally getting some goaltending. But again, you look at their record. I mean, they're on the cusp, and in the other conferences, not even making the playoffs. And there's a lot of teams out there that want to beat them, regardless of whether they're 29 or 97, and one of them are in or out of the lineup, or they're both in. I think more than ever, we're looking at a 2 weeks down the road at a playoff that I think, if you were to pick a champion, it's wide open.
Right.
Crazy. Look at everyone who's tied for the 8th, 7th, 8th, 9th spots. There's 2 points in the East. Out west, there's teams still fighting. I think it's going to be real interesting. You look at the game on, is it tomorrow night, or the Utah Edmonton game, or is that tonight? It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. Yeah.
Tuesday. So look, that game, you know what? Edmonton went in there and they put Connor Ingram in net, and they held Utah to 18 shots. And Bob Stauffer was planning the parade, but how good they were. That was Utah's worst game, like in 25 games. And I would very much think that there'll be a different motivated team tomorrow night in Salt Lake City, in terms of the Mammoth. They know it's a big game too, right? They got something to prove, and they're still trying to get in. So it's going to be all these games are playoff games right now, Rod. Correct? They're all playoff games.
Right.
I mean, there's been 10 teams, 12 teams playing playoff games for the last 2 weeks.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to have to run here right away. We got about 3 minutes, but if the Winnipeg Jets should somehow rally and come back, Jesus had the greatest comeback on Sunday, Easter Sunday. Winnipeg would be number 2 for a comeback. That would be, because they were written off by everybody 2 months ago.
They're a team that, you like even 2 weeks ago, you're like, how's this going to work? But they just keep kind of clawing their way back into the picture, right? And they're getting better goaltending. They are getting some more guys scoring goals. Kyle Connor is still doing Kyle Connor things. And you're starting to see Cole Perfetti's starting to score a little bit more. Look, I think a lot of people had him written off the deadline, especially. So it's going to be interesting. Like, it's not easy. They've got to pretty much win out and hope for a little bit of help.
Yeah, well, they traded Stanley and Shen. One might say they wrote themselves off. Yet here they are coming back, and you must have a great relationship with Dale Talon because you guys are both great guys and Blackhawk alum. And Dale says when you got talent, you always got a chance.
You do,
right?
You do, as long as you're not running out of runway, right? And right now you can see the end of the runway there right now, and you better get up in a hurry.
Okay, a quick junior loop update. Tigers keep rolling. Hey.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I thought Regina played really well in a couple of those games. The series that I think has been very interesting is the 3-6 spot in the Eastern Conference with the Oil Kings and the Blades. The last two games have been great games. For Edmonton to go back in Saskatoon last night in front of a big crowd, win in double overtime on a power play. Now you go back to Game 7. Each team has won twice in each other's buildings, and so now it's going to make for a great Game 7 tomorrow night. So there's 4 good teams left in the East. There will be 4 really good teams. And out West, same thing. So that's what makes it fun, too. Definitely going to get to some games in the next round.
Good. Well, speaking of 4, Frozen 4 hitting the ice in Vegas Thursday night. Notre Dame, Wisconsin, Michigan, Denver. I got it written down here. So it is. This is the greatest time of the year. I don't care what anybody says. This is the best time of the year. It's not even a factor. Okay, you still coming down here? The boys are all excited to see you, Richie. They're excited to get you down here.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay.
I'll talk to you.
You going to hit me up when you do? Okay, sounds good, Rich. Thank you. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for the time.
Talk soon.
The great Rich Sutter joining us from Lethbridge, member of Hockey's First Family. And when we come back, we will be doing a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. You're watching the RP Show on Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. The RP Show continues on Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV. I can sit here and read sports updates the rest of the hour, and I kind of think that that's what I will do. But I will tell you that the text line is open, 902-518-3033, if there's anything that tickles your fancy there on anything that we've been talking about today. But let's be honest, it's been a whole lot of hockey. It's an exciting time of year, and Vegas is in the spotlight. Leafs are not. I mean, I didn't even get to the Sabres, which reminds me, that is my lead item of the sports update. The Buffalo Sabres have clinched their first playoff spot since 2011, ending the longest active drought in the NHL and second longest across the Big Four North American sports leagues. Only the NFL's Jets have gone longer since appearing in the postseason, going back to 2010. By the way, where are all the New York Jets fans? Ryan in upstate New York, Cardinal Ryan, are you dialed in today? Not only do the New York Jets have the longest drought in North American major sports history, they are the dead last team in the power rankings and any betting odds for the Super Bowl this year. Like, the ineptitude is fascinatingly impressive that you could be that bad for this long. Why does the owner not sell? Do you not get tired of this? Basketball, Duke's Cameron Boozer was named the Naismith Player of the Year, marking the second straight year a Blue Devils freshman took home the honor. Cooper Flagg got it last year. UConn sophomore Sarah Strong won the award on the women's side. Golf, J.J. Spawn survived a rainy week in San Antonio to win his second Texas Open. Lauren Coughlin rolled to a 5-shot victory at the LPGA's Aramco Championship. And Mariah Jose Morain, a junior at Arkansas, won the Augusta National Women's Amateur. By the way, I'm just going to throw this out there right now. I'm not sure if Mark Gundry's watching right now. He owns and operates the clothing brand Whole Life here in Florida. He's the one that does all my fancy shirts. This Saturday, we're having a watch party at the Golf League. That's the Tiger Woods owned indoor golf facility with the luxury suites and the stands and the simulator. I'll be there along with my good friend Brent from Wellington, Florida. Would you be interested in going, anybody? Because, as a lot of folks have pointed out to me recently, man, you got a hell of a lot of viewers. Yes, we do. But are any of them around South Florida that you would be interested in coming to a watch party Saturday and golf event this Saturday, 2 to 7, Masters watch party? Because if so, we'll run a contest. And if there's any big-time golfer fans that are watching, which I can't imagine you would be watching if you're a huge golf fan, but maybe you are, would you be willing to get on a plane and fly here to South Florida to attend with us? I'm going with Brent from Wellington. We're going to be there. Would you like to join us? Should we have a contest? The Golf League this Saturday, 2 to 7, watch party for the Masters. I got the tickets. They're around here somewhere. Just let me know. It's only Monday. We got a couple days to plan how we're going to do this. Speaking of hoops, Doc Rivers, Mike D'Antoni, Amari Stoudemire, and Candace Parker headlined the Basketball Hall of Fame class of 2026, which includes 3 coaches, 4 players, 1 referee, and the entire 1996 U.S. women's national team. And from soccer, Inter Miami opened their new stadium on Saturday, debuting the $350 million venue to a sold-out crowd of 26,700. Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez both scored, but the defending champions could only salvage a draw against Austin. They're calling it the house Messi built here in Miami. I hope to see it one day. Can't be everywhere. Sports update brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone. You're looking for the hottest fan gear? Swing by Ultimate Fan Zone or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca, where real fans get their gear. We have not yet done our NHL picks for the day. We'll do those next when we come back for overtime. There are only 4 games tonight. Have some fun with us. We'll pick these games and get to your last questions and comments when we return. 902-518-3033 is the Western Dodge text line. And you can also, for those watching on the live stream, utilize the chat there. It's your last chance to get at me today. When we come back, you're watching across Nevada on Silver State Sports and across Canada on Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
All right, welcome back, everybody, for Overtime. Proudly brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Are you looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot? Look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. State-of-the-art shooting lanes, top-notch equipment. It's the ultimate training destination for players of all ages and skill levels. Trust me, I travel a lot, and so many people say to me, "Oh, I wish we had an Overtime Hockey Lanes." Come on, Calgary and Southern Alberta. If you haven't checked it out yet, go do it and see what everybody's talking about. Whether you're prepping for the big game or just want to have some fun, Overtime Hockey Lanes has got you covered. OvertimeHL.ca. You all know, those that have been watching this show for a while, it's the first place I stop every summer when I head to Alberta. Okay. 902-518-3033. This is weird times. We actually kept it on the rails today, especially with Scruffy, and we got Rich Sutter in good amount of time, covered a lot of topics there with Richie. It's been a great start to the week. As Bree said yesterday, she goes, are we in Mercury retrograde? I feel like that ended. I know, weird stuff's not supposed to be happening, but it is. Oh, and yeah, I was saying earlier that, if you missed it, we saw Jerry Jones' boat yesterday off the coast of the West Palm Beach and downtown harbor and yacht club. And Brent, thank you. I don't know why I have a mental block with this, but the name of the boat I can never remember. It's the Bravo Eugenia, which apparently is named after his wife. It was 300 and what did you say, Brent? You were 347 feet long. So as we're motoring by it, I said to Brent, that half that boat seems unnecessary. I'm like, oh, wait, that's probably the point. And how that tied into today's discussion. I was on that show last night, the podcast out of Georgia, recovery podcast called Talking Trash. Those guys do a really great job. They make recovery fun. It should be fun. It really should be fun, from addiction recovery and mental health recovery. And they said, what's your favorite NHL team? I'm like, if you're deep down, if you're really asking, it's probably the Vegas Golden Knights. I have the most friends with that team. At one point, they really were my number one team. I was out of the closet with that. But I live in South Florida, and the Panthers are great to me too. But we have a very professional relationship with the Panthers. I got great friends there. But I don't really want to be a fan of any team because I'm a fan of the Cowboys, and I get unreasonable with them. I become like Kevin the Median with his Vancouver sports teams, the Lions and the Canucks, because I was yelling at the workers on Jerry Jones' boat yesterday, telling them to get off their ass and go fix a football team. That's not reasonable behavior. Anyways, as I said, the picks, beep, 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 beep. I would ring my bell in the kazoo, but apparently it's not picking up on the microphone of my iPhone earphones. So, Tampa Bay at Buffalo tonight. Stop. Game of the night right there. I think I got to go with the Sabres. But these Lightning fans, the Lightning fans are hard not to like. That's another reason why I can't go full in on the Panthers, because if I did, the Lightning fans would turn on me. I don't want that. It's going really good right now. But I have the Sabres to beat Tampa tonight. Seattle at Winnipeg, I feel like the Kraken have just... Winnipeg can smell it. Jets for me. Chicago at San Jose. Bedard versus Celebrini. San Jose has more to play for, period. The betting guys will tell you that's a huge factor when they're picking winners. Who wants it more? It's got to be San Jose. That's my pick, but watch Chicago go in and upset them. And then Nashville at Los Angeles tonight. They're meeting for the second time in a week. Hell of a race there. I hope, Rich said it earlier. He's like, we are in the playoffs now. So hopefully you are enjoying that, because some of these teams aren't going to make it. These are your playoffs. I don't know which teams those are. I'm reading the NHL PR notes this morning, and they're like, 3 teams clinched playoff berths on the weekend: the Lightning, the Canadiens, and the Sabres. But there are still 9 spots up for grabs. So to sit here and If you want to do your fantasy playoff pools now, go ahead. You're clearly just going to be guessing. You don't know who's going to be in. Just enjoy it. That's what we're doing. Enjoying it. Utah Darren writes, and he says 3 rings is Jimmy Johnson's boat. Is that a fact? 2 with the Cowboys and 1 with the Hurricanes, I'm assuming. I've spent a lot of time in the Florida Keys. Thank God for that. But Jimmy Johnson is like this mythical figure in the Florida Keys. He lives there. He has a restaurant there. I've been to that many times, but you can never find Jimmy Johnson. He's like the Okopogo in Lake Okanagan. They tell me he's there every Thursday morning, but I'm never there on Thursdays. But anyways, they say if you ever run into Jimmy Johnson, and they say you see him running down the overseas highway. He's like 75, and that doesn't preclude you from exercise, obviously. But they say he's got his iPod strapped to his arm. He's running down overseas highways. You always see him. But they said if you run into him, don't ask him about football. And I get it. They said, but if you ask him about fishing, you can't shut him up. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta says, I love the Flames and Sutter family connection. 3 brothers have been head coach, Brian, Brent, and Daryl. Ron has been player development coach for over 25 years. Truculence. It is a wonderful connection. And I always love those chats with Rich Sutter. He doesn't hold back. Nor do I. That's why we get along. Tomorrow, Sean Hogan's going to be with us. Sean Hogan is the executive director of College Hockey Inc. Both College Hockey Inc. and DraftKings, through our relationship with DraftKings, setting up this interview as the Frozen Four comes to Vegas this weekend. That is the NCAA Men's Hockey Championship Tournament. We'll be teeing that up with Sean Hogan. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This has been awesome. We'll see you tomorrow here on the RP Show.
That.